three fairly notable NFL news items to get into on today's show, and of course discuss how they impact or potentially impact the Dallas Cowboys. Updates on Jalen Ramsey, who has been the subject of many trade rumors, including some linking him to the Cowboys. Jaire Alexander updates, and James Cook as well. Now let's say the Cowboys actually wanted to go get one of these three players. Who would you rather them acquire? I guess we spelled rack on accident here. R for Jalen Ramsey, A for Jaire Alexander, C for James Cook. We'll just drop the J off of all of them because that gets repetitive. Sound off in the comments of today's show. Now, if you watched our Sunday video, one of our Sunday videos, you know we discussed Jalen Ramsey. I don't want to rehash too much of that. A trade, I think, is likely, just might not be to the Dallas Cowboys. On the heels of Adam Schefter's latest report saying that he thinks a deal gets done in the coming weeks, if not days, basically, for Jalen Ramsey, the current Dolphins corner sent out this rather cryptic tweet. It just said 5, ... Okay, well, what does that mean? Why would he say that? Brian Windhorst style, right? First up, that's his number. Okay, want to acknowledge it. But 5 days away from June 1st. Which is when it becomes more financially feasible, ideal even, for the Dolphins to live up to their word when they've said they're going to trade away Jalen Ramsey and deal him. Contract breakdown. $16.6 million cap hit right now. If the Dolphins were to agree to a trade and trade him today, which includes the process of it, finalizing it, doing the paperwork, etc., they'd actually lose $12.5 million of that current cap hit. So you go from 16.6 to 16.6 plus 12.55. If they do it after June 1st, they push a bunch of dead money off into 2026 when the cap goes up, they have more cap space, etc., and they save a little under $6 million. So it kind of gets that Dolphins' current cap space closer to 20. Not quite 20, but close to it. The cash is a factor. The money, I think, is the crux of this issue right now. I don't think the Dolphins were getting great offers during the NFL draft because Ramsey's owed $21.1 million in cash this year. That is not how it hits the salary cap. It is spaced out over several years, but at minimum, it's 1 year, $21 million. 2 years, $42. So you're paying him a lot of money, even if the potential cap hit is 1 year. For year one is like 5, and then the other 16 comes in year 2. That's still a lot of money. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to trade for Jalen Ramsey. As fun, as exciting as that would be, do not get me wrong. I do think he's moved soon, though. I do think once we get to June 1st, even if it's not on June 1st itself, or if it comes out a day earlier or 2 days earlier, and it all gets kind of shifted ahead and we hear more buzz, like it'll be finalized on June 2nd, whatever, I do think he's moved soon. I just don't think it'll be with the Dallas Cowboys. It doesn't have to be trade. This could be a cut candidate, which the Dolphins, by the way, are not cutting Jalen Ramsey. It's not going to happen. That $21 million is guaranteed. They're not going to eat that amount of money. Will Dallas make another big move? Y for yes, N for no. Let's check in on Jaire Alexander. I think is a more potentially gettable player for the Dallas Cowboys for a variety of reasons we'll discuss. Of note, though, the Packers have offered a contract restructure to Alexander, but it's not agreed to. And I wouldn't ignore that part either, because until it's agreed to, everything's on the table for Alexander and Green Bay. Matt Schneidman over at The Athletic, the Packers beat writer, had this to say. According to a source with knowledge of the situation, the Packers have proposed a restructured contract to Alexander, which tangibly demonstrates their interest in retaining the two-time All-Pro corner during an offseason in which they have been open to trading him. But Alexander and his agent, John Thornton of Rock Nation, have not agreed to a restructuring yet. Alexander wants to remain in Green Bay, has 2 years left on his then record-setting contract extension. Now, I do wonder, when was that extension offered? If it was recent, that's actually noteworthy. If it was 2 months ago, boy, still haven't gotten anything done yet there. Here's how the contract breaks down. Alexander is owed a $24.64 million cap hit in 2025. The cash in 2025 is $17.5 million. The Packers want to get that figure down. That would then bring down the cap hit. If he were to be traded, the Cowboys would owe him $17.5 million this year. That's a lot of money for the way they do business. If the Dolphins trade him or cut him right now, they save 7.6. At this point, if they had designated him post June 1st or trade him after June 1st, they save $17 million. This could be a bit of a staring contest between Alexander and Green Bay. He probably does want to remain with the Packers, but at a number that he feels valued at. So what happens if the Packers and Alexander don't agree on the figure? Who blinks? Is it Alexander saying, I'm not taking it, cut me if you have to? And is it the Packers saying, okay, we'll do this figure, or do they cut him? Or do they try to trade him again? I think the cash involved makes it unlikely he gets traded because he's missed a lot of time the past 3 years. But he fits what the Cowboys need. He can play inside and outside. He'd be a stopgap option, but a good one. His future, I think even more so than Jalen Ramsey, I think will get dealt, is murky. So this one is the one to monitor for me, especially if he's cut. I don't know if he's going to. I kind of think the Packers would have done that already, but if they can't agree to a renegotiation, maybe that changes. You don't see a lot of post-June 1st action as much as we want it to happen. But this is one I think to definitely monitor if he's cut. We will have more updates for you on the Dallas Cowboys all off-season long. We are 839 subs away from the next big milestone, 217,000 subs. So join us and get more free Cowboys YouTube videos each and every single day. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Let's talk James Cook. He is not present at the start of Bills' voluntary organized team activities as Cook continues to look for a new contract. I didn't mean to rhyme. I'm sorry. I don't like rhyming like that. Sorry. It is not technically a holdout yet for James Cook. This is all voluntary. He didn't have to be there until mandatory minicamp. The contract is the issue here, much like it is for Alexander. He reportedly wants $15 million per year, or at least that's what he wanted. Some 16, I think, kind of dropped it a little bit there. I've seen some Cowboys fans suggest, well, go trade for him. There are issues here, not just involving the money as well. But before we get to that, we mentioned two positions on today's show, running back and cornerback. What do you think is the bigger need for the Dallas Cowboys? RB or CB? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. These are the highest paid backs per year. You can almost ignore the Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey contracts. Those were extreme high-end extensions, at least as it relates to James Cook. In 2 years, if Bijan Robinson keeps it up, maybe that actually becomes a good figure for him. Derrick Henry makes $15 million per year. John Taylor makes $14. The Henry one came in after James Cook's contract requests. Everyone else kind of further down. You got two guys above 12, one other guy above 10, a couple guys around $9 to $10 million. I think James Cook is a very good running back. I think the Bills had a lot of success last year, kind of limiting his workload. He only had 207 carries. He's really been more of a 15, 16 touch per game guy over the course of his NFL career, with still very young, ignoring 2022, by the way. But that's kind of what he's been overall, which I understand why some people want him. I think there are real issues, though, with this as a potential move for the Dallas Cowboys. I think James Cook would be a great fit with Dallas. It fills your running back one need. He comes in. It's a running back trade. Those aren't normally that expensive. Do not get your hopes up. The Cowboys don't pay running backs what they have been worth in the open market. They've kind of changed their strategy there. I doubt they want to give James Cook $15 million, and I don't think the Bills want to trade James Cook. He's their number one back. For all the hemming and hawing we give the Cowboys over their current backfield, a backfield in Buffalo led by Ray Davis and Ty Johnson is like the worst in the NFL, and the Bills are contenders. So I don't get why it makes any sense at all for Buffalo. Remember, it takes two teams to make any trade happen. You have to have our team, the Cowboys, be interested, have the money work out there, and the team making the trade has to be on board. And I think there could be a scenario next offseason. Maybe James Cook right back there in the open market. Maybe there's a franchise tag. Maybe then it makes more sense for him to pursue him. But I think the timing doesn't work out really at all for the Dallas Cowboys. So don't get your hopes up on this one.